Welcome to this episode of the Instant Impact Podcast. I have a really juicy episode for you today. And now I know from the title, you may not think that this is my juiciest episode. However, this is actually going to be really, really valuable for you. And look, I know that SEO or search engine optimization is probably not something that you are thinking about for your business 24/7. I know for myself and a lot of the clients I work with, when it comes to thinking about lead generation and how we can grow our business, a lot of times our first thoughts will go to social media or content strategy. We're not necessarily thinking about SEO. But here's the thing, having a solid SEO strategy can actually give you a really significant long-term advantage over your competitors and people who don't focus on it. And, as I recorded this episode with my guest today, I was thinking of one of my clients who runs one of the top 5 meditation blogs in the planet, and he generates significant revenue from it. And all of that comes from his focus on SEO right from the start. So this can be really impactful for you in terms of increasing revenue, lead generation, especially if it's something you haven't really started focusing on yet. So today I wanted to bring you a real SEO expert to help you just start thinking about how you can incorporate SEO for lead generation, for your traffic strategy. And this conversation is going to be relevant whether you've been focused on it for a while and you're trying to figure out what can I do to take it to the next level, or if you literally have given zero thought to it and are thinking, oh shoot, I probably should have done that a while back. So let me tell you just a little bit about my guest today, because I brought on such an expert for you. My guest is Erica Glessing. She is a number one best-selling author 33 times over. How crazy is that? Her company is SEO for Lead Gen, and she helps entrepreneurs and small business owners be seen more visibly for their work in the world. This is amazing to me. She's grown her podcast to more than 100,000 downloads in 2020 alone. So if you are looking for someone who knows how to get traffic, who knows how to grow a business, this woman knows it. So part of what I really like about our conversation is that Erica gives really tactical advice that you can use to start optimizing your website to get more leads. And just some of the things that you're going to learn in this interview include a $1 million SEO idea that you can implement right now. You're also going to get some of her favorite tools to find out what keywords you should try to rank for. So lots of super tactical suggestions there. We also talk about, at the time of this recording, it's 2020. So what should you be doing in 2020 specifically for your SEO to maximize the opportunity? And there's a lot more too. So much goodness in this episode. And hey, real quick, just speaking of lead generation, I also wanted to let you know, if you are in mortgage, financial services, real estate, or insurance, I've actually got a free ebook for you that I just recently wrote about how to grow your confidence on video and then use video content to generate more leads. So again, if you're in mortgage, financial services, real estate, or insurance, I've got an ebook for you, totally free. I will be charging for these in the future, but for now, I'm just giving them away for free to try to help people as they transition more of their business and their lead generation online to using video. So if you want to get one, just email Elise@elisearcher.com. Let me know what industry ebook you want, and my team or I will get it right over to you. So, all right, guys, with that, let's get into this mini SEO masterclass with our brilliant and talented guest, Erica Glessing. Erica, I am super excited for this conversation. I think it is, this whole topic of SEO and how do we use SEO for lead gen, like you and I were talking about a little bit in the pre-chat. It's not always something that comes up as like the sexiest topic that people are really excited to talk about. However, it's something that can dramatically transform someone's business if they are findable and searchable. And so I'm just curious to start off, how in the world did you get interested in this? Like, this is a very specific focus area. How did this end up being your zone of genius and what you do?
The first time was when my first book came out, and my previous name was Erica Nelson. Well, there were 6 Erica Nelsons in the city I lived in. So I would go do these talks, and you can't just say, go to Amazon and or go to Google and type in my name, because they'd get like 6 pages of them before they found me. So out of necessity in 2007, I trained the internet to see that I was the one, although there was a firefighter in Minnesota and she was always in the news. Like every time there was a fire call, she was on a blotter. So I never got to be the number one, but I got to be number two, and I was only author, right? You know, so it worked. And then my book got found, but it was really the first time I did it. And then I just kept repeating it, and I got hired. And to be honest, I never really thought it was a thing. Like it was so easy for me that, and then I started noticing that it doesn't happen for people naturally, and it is something that you need to train yourself to do.
Yeah. Well, and you and I were talking in the pre-chat, you were saying when you really uncovered it as like your thing in your zone of genius, you were like, really? Is this, but it's like you said, I think for most people, it just doesn't make sense. So for a lot of the conversation today, I want to try to keep it relatively high level, but also tactical enough that somebody could take some of the tips and strategies and start implementing in their business to help them be found, by more of their ideal customers, to help them rank better. So one of the things that I'm curious about from you, I'm curious about your perspective of what matters right now. I used to, go ahead.
There's an absolute 100% disruption. So everyone's eyes and ears, so podcast listeners have gone 60% now are listening to the news. So everyone's eyeballs have changed where people search. They wake up in the morning, they want to look at the updates, they want to check out. So everyone's searching patterns are in a disruption. But if you look at it, like if you think about I guess if you look at it like if you had a store and you had 72 items for sale, and they all got pushed aside, and people only wanted toilet paper, right? Well, pretty soon, that's just not people are going to laugh about that, and everyone's going to be able to find toilet paper. So now you could actually rearrange the store in any order that you chose to get people's eyeballs. It's a disruption. So the people that were number one, they might not be number one at the end of this. Like people that were number 7 might be number one. People that everything's disrupted. And when does that happen? It's never happened in my lifetime. So as a way of using language to let people know what you do, this is a perfect time to get some new words that really sparkle to people. And you can take advantage of what's going on in a way of being relevant. Like, how do I stay relevant? How do I stay relevant? Look at the people who've stayed relevant. Like, look at Cher, for heaven's sakes. She is flipping gorgeous. Like, if I look like her at that age, right? Like, how do we stay relevant? And so this would be the question to ask yourself right now is, are my pages relevant? Is my website fresh? Do I have blogs that address the pandemic? And you don't even have to address the pandemic. You can say, how do you grapple with fear? How do you work from home? What is it that you can bring to the planet right now to help us through this time? Everyone has gifts, and so, yeah, it's a really interesting time. And I actually believe you could go in and do all new metadata right now. And this is like another word that people's eyes, like you say this at a coffee party. Yeah. You say it at a coffee party, and people are just like, like next,
Yeah. Well,
like,
so tell us.
Not sexy.
So tell us. So I think for part of this, like, tell us what that means. So when you say we could do all new metadata right now, just like high level, what does that even mean?
Yeah, and maybe what is search engine optimization too? Because honestly, even that, people are like, well, gosh, I really like Elise, and if she's interested in Erica, I want to hear what she has to say, but what is this?
Yeah. Let's give them that. Yeah.
So basically, it's taking your messages and then taking the words that people use to find you and then making an alignment out of that. So it's finding an alignment between what people search for and what you do so that you can be found. Because what happens is, like, if you use a lot of strange language, and it's okay to have strange language, believe me, but you also want to look at what are the things people look for, and then what you want to do is type that in. So I had a book that came out about energy, but when you type in energy, you get like Pacific Gas and Electric. Like you get like wind tunnels. And my book was about like the energy of receiving or the energy of magic, or, it was like really woo-woo. And so you can't just call it energy, because your tribe won't find you. So
Mm.
it's really matching what your tribe's looking for with your gifts, and then finding that sweet spot so that you can name yourself in a way. Like, I have another funny thing I thought of yesterday, because I'm always teaching this, and it was like, if I say this vegan dish is like crunchy and I name 7 things you've never heard of, you go, huh? But if I call it mock apple pie or vegan mock apple pie, then you kind of get a taste in your mouth, and it actually is made out of apples, but I use all these things that aren't vegan. You know what I'm saying? So it's like finding a name that helps people find you, and that's search engine optimization. So that's just sort of like that's my definition. It's probably not very geeky.
Yeah, well, I think it's helpful though, because I think part of why sometimes our eyes glaze over is it feels like it's going to be so technical and so geeky, and so we ignore it. But really what I'm hearing you say is it's simply really being relevant and being found by the terms your
Yeah.
ideal customers are looking for on search engines.
Absolutely. And like,
Yeah.
if you look up brand, like Elise is gifted in brand, you know your zone of genius, it's brand. So you just use those words around you, but you're much more than that. I mean, you really help people discover their chi. I mean, you actually do more than brand. Like, but that word works perfectly to help people find you. And that's where you want to go. People think it's fake, but really no, it's aligning what people are looking for and what you're already doing. Like, I'm a big component of what are you actually doing? How are you actually helping people? Anyways, I got on my high horse. I'm sorry.
I
Okay.
love it. I love it. Look, just discover your chi sounds very fancy, sounds very expensive. So I'm going to.
Yeah, you do. But I bet there's not that many searches for it.
Right, exactly. Which is a big piece of this too, right? Is knowing what are people actually searching for.
Yeah, I mean,
And
the market is the determiner of everything. Like,
yeah.
but let me do metadata. So I don't want to avoid metadata.
Yeah.
So behind the scenes, I'll just give people a really, really wonderful thing they can do to their website or tell their web people to do for them. This is like $1 million idea. So every photograph is named. In this lies, if you have, say, let's just say a website has 200 photographs, on every single page, a couple photographs, every blog post, a photograph. So you go, if you're in WordPress, you can just go into media, look at all your photographs, right? So they all have names, and people name them things like 200x200. Or they name them like gallery_1. Okay. So would anyone ever type that in to find you? No, like never. Like 200 by 200 is a resolution. And you'd be shocked when you do a right click on photos. I did this. I actually have a gym, and I got with my gym guy because I really wanted them to be number 1 because they're really good. And they're like number 7. And I was like, every single one of your photographs is named like, gym lifting weights. So what you can do instead, and I'll just use that one for an example because it's kind of concrete. So you have a gym and you have 36 pictures, name them all San Jose gym or gym San Jose fitness man lifting barbells or something. So you can keep what it is. You don't have to lie, but give Google a little taste of your location and your product. Now the metadata of the back end of the site has automatically like 36 more San Jose fitness, San Jose gym mentions, right? Or wherever you are. And it was so easy. And all you did was rename all your photographs, because that's part of the thing that Google looks for when they're just documenting what's on a site. So that's just one tiny example of metadata.
So helpful. I love, because that's super actionable too. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. All of my photos they're probably the names the photographer gave them when I first took them, which
yes,
is like
absolutely.
04 AB.
Absolutely. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You get a photo and you're not even aware that name is going to be perceived by Google. Here's another one. What are your page names? So each page is Google as a little standalone little island of SEO opportunity.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So you look at each page and you say, well, what's the actual URL? Could that be optimized? So does it say .com/about? I wouldn't necessarily change about, because about's a very popular page. It's like the second most viewed page. So I don't know if I would ever change about, because that's really like a nice thing. But let's say you had coaching. So most people just do like, erica.com/coaching. Well, that would be a great opportunity to say brand business coaching, or breakthrough life coaching, or intuitive guidance coaching, or right. So right there in the domain of your coaching page, give it a nice sexy name. And then your headers, I mean, I could get really geeky, but the main thing is that there are all these opportunities that Google sees with a magnifying glass that the human being just really doesn't even care about. Like, you don't really care what the URL is. Like, once you're on the page and you're getting what you need from it, you honestly could care less what the URL is. Yeah. And you'll almost never remember it.
True. Yeah, so true. I want to go back to something you said earlier when we were talking about what can business owners be doing right now for SEO. And I also just want to acknowledge, because I don't think we acknowledged it at the beginning, at the time of this recording, where, we're going through COVID-19 stuff. So when you're listening to this, that may or may not be happening or be as active, but at the time of this recording, we're going through a major disruption. And so one of the things I am curious about is just thinking about, for a business owner, a side hustler, someone with a personal brand who's building their personal brand website, what are some of the things that you see happening in 2020, whether it's with the algorithm or with just the way SEO is done? I know you were talking about it's a time of disruption, so somebody could go in and redo their metadata. Are you saying there's like a shuffling right now where somebody who couldn't rank high can now rank high?
So really, first of all, you know how like we tend to look at our downloads on our podcast as our little self mirror, right? Like, did we hit it? Sure. Did we strike a chord? Oh my gosh, only 2 downloads. Only my mom listened, right? So we want to suspend that critical mind for at least 3 months. So just understand, for at least 90 days, and of course there'll be changes after that, but really just suspend anything of the measurements, meaning anything, which is horrible, because we look at these measurements. I mean, I give my clients reports every week of their numbers, but we can't take strides of building and take strides of metadata and, oh my gosh, I did this and I added 2,000 more words because my competitor only had 1,500 words, but I only had 700 words. So now I have 3,000 words and I'm so excited because now I'm going to kick their patootie. But no one's really looking at gyms in San Jose, right? No one can go. So why would they be going there? So nobody's going to those sites. So your numbers are going to be completely skewed and relatively irrelevant. You're basically building a foundation for the future. You can do posts in your blog right now that really, what you want to do is get into what are your customers waking up nights thinking about. So I'm actually going to meet with someone at 11. I'm a little nervous because she does flowers and she doesn't know about Mother's Day. And this is her biggest day of the year, basically. And anyways, I don't want to be too time oriented, but so we're really going to look at what can she give her clients to help them love their moms. Maybe it's in July, maybe it's in September, maybe she looks at what can I do in November and December to beef up my business, because I know I was going to see some things I couldn't even do for 3 or 4 months. So you want to look at, how can I be relevant? What does my customer stays up night thinking about? And how can I have my website and my social media adjust? And I'll tell you another thing. One thing I don't like, and this is maybe a pet peeve, but don't tell me I'm depressed. Don't tell me if I'm this or that. All that feels like to me is it furthers that. What I would say more is, are you looking for ways to solve this?
Okay.
What could you bring, like, or maybe you just find resources for them, since you can't do it right now because your hands are tied and you're sitting on your hands waiting for the world to go back to normal. And you could say, you know what, while we're doing this, here's some great puzzles I found. I came up with this fun thing. My daughter is doing tie-dye in the backyard. She's made 7 new shirts. I'm scared if this goes on much longer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you could give them like tips and hints on solutions for things that are bothering them. Or maybe, like, let's say tell me like an example of a business of someone that might be listening. I'll
Oh
come up with a funny
gosh.
idea.
Yeah. So one is we have a lot of financial advisors, financial services
Okay,
people.
so
So
perfect. First of all, to me, anyone who says right now they know exactly what someone should do is probably lying. Because no one knows exactly what anyone should do right exactly at this, when there's a huge disruption in in the entire global economy. You may have some suggestions, but I wouldn't come across as knowing everything. And a lot of times financial advisors do know a lot. I mean, a lot of times they have watched the market, right? And they're very wise. Right now, though, you don't want to come across as I know it all, because you don't. We're in a complete disruption, and all the world's economies are quickly shifting. Big Pharma is trying to get a lot of their future set, right? So what I would say is a calming message, and then a bright message, and then a possible ways that people can look at their future portfolio. And if they were hit very hard, what can be salvaged? And if they have their eggs in too many baskets, could they solidify? What do you recommend? And have them come up with like some heartfelt key bulletins that are timeless, right? I have actually a client who does work on that it's funny, for like professional athletes. And he's like, you want to look at your risk, what you're willing to risk, what you're not willing to risk. You want to really carefully look at your tolerance for risk going forward, because you want to shape your choices based on, and it kind of like help the clients focus on their goals and objectives. And certainly if someone was really hard hit, they need the financial advice more than ever.
Absolutely.
So maybe come up with some ways they can grow their money in the next 12 months, even though we have no idea what's going to happen to stocks, right? We don't know, maybe, I don't know. I think Apple is doing really well. I think people are on their phones a lot.
Apple will probably, now not to get too speculative, but I have a feeling Apple will do well for
and basically
some
just,
time.
As a caveat, we have no clue.
Exactly. The full disclaimer. Now, here's something I'm interested to get your thoughts on, and this is so helpful. So, we've been talking some about like content marketing, right? And what sort of blog content can you put on, which is a part of SEO. How do we know, like, what are some of your favorite tools to use to figure out what keywords we should be trying to show up for? How do we know what our people are searching for? How do we know what keywords to try to use in our marketing?
Absolutely. I know, and I think this is something that stumped me when I was first like learning SEO, because it's like such an ocean of content possibilities, right?
Yeah.
And you could write about so many things. And if we just take the financial advisor, there's like, gosh, there's probably 700 article ideas they could come up with in an hour of brainstorming if they just sat, right? So how do you know? Like, how do you know how can I optimize my energy? The simplest thing, and that's why most people don't think it's very sexy. You just start typing in your question into Google, and you let it answer. And then you look, and what are like the 5 auto answers? These are the things most people are typing in right now. And Google changes daily. So, I'm worried about my whatever, just do a long tail thing and then see what comes up. There's also a tool I really like. I don't know if I can remember the name on, but it's either Ask Questions or Ask the Answer. It's a list of the most popular questions in a particular genre. And I'll try to look that up while we're talking. And it's super cool. It gives you 200 of the most common questions.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
free tool.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Because I think, and while you're searching for that, I think a lot of
answerthepublic.com.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've heard of that. I don't think I've ever used
Yeah,
it. Answer the
it's
public. Okay,
really
great.
neat. So what you do, you type in your question, you type in just a word, and it gives you the 200 most Googled questions on that topic.
Love it.
Woo!
I
So
love it.
I know, it's such a cool tool. It's so fun. It gives them a map. It's really attractive visually. And you can also do like a download, but it gives you this really pretty like circular map.
Mhm.
I really like
love it.
that tool.
I love it.
I know, it's a great tool. So I'm always looking at like, what are people asking about this, and what do people want to know? And then don't be afraid to use your own head. Like, what are people asking you? If
Mm,
you're on the phone with your clients 24/7 right now, helping them get through this, if you're calling them and talking to them, what are things that you see as a pattern emerging? And then just take a moment and write a 300 or 400 word blog on those questions that you're actually hearing from your actual clients. Like, you don't have to go research. Like, do you see what I'm saying? It doesn't
mhm.
have to be complex.
Yeah, this is super helpful. So it's pay attention to what you're hearing from your clients, pay attention to the questions they're asking, and listen for what are the recurring keywords or phrases that you're hearing. And then also great tools like going into Google and typing and looking at in the drop down, what are the first 5 results that show in the drop down as you type, or
Absolutely.
a tool like Answer the Public.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
good.
And if
Okay.
you do that, honestly, then you can't not be relevant.
Mm-hmm. I
like you,
love it.
like you're just forced to then be relevant. And I mean, there are other things there. You can get really fancy with looking at like the blogs that have gotten the most, like the blogs that stand out the most. And then let's say it's go back to a financial advisor or something just for the heck of it, and say something like, what are the top 10 ways to protect your portfolio in a recession? Right? That might be
Mm-hmm.
a great topic. So let's say there's a blog about that that's ranking really high. Well, do the top 25. Just crush it. Just be better than that one. Like, just whatever the ones that are ranking, just go and make yours stronger. Or if you read it and it's like kind of weak and you can see where you're actually smarter. So many of the people that don't do SEO are really brilliant, but they don't know how to get seen,
Mm.
right? They don't know
Yeah.
how to show up with their brilliance. They don't know how to tell Google what they're talking about.
Yeah, which actually brings up, so this is one of the other questions I wanted to ask you. How do we know when we should be focusing on SEO? Because I think there's a number of different ways to get traffic, right? There's paid traffic, there's your social media strategy, which ties in with SEO. But I know when a lot of people are launching their businesses, they tend to focus on, I just need the website up so that when people go and search my name, it looks good.
It's a
And then I
business
need to
card.
start focusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I need to start
Yeah.
focusing on my social media and launch a podcast.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times SEO gets kind of swept. I know even in my own business, I didn't really, I've had my new site, my new business for close to 2 years. I haven't thought about it that much.
Oh
And
my
I'm,
goodness.
I know, it's
I better give you
confession
a
time, right?
proposal.
Yeah, I really haven't thought about it that much. And I'm curious, when would you say someone should
Well,
start focusing on this?
if you want more leads, that's probably the right time.
Mm. And well, so here's maybe give a distinction because it is more of a long-term play, right? So if somebody needs fast traffic, fast leads, a lot of times they may look to social media, paid ads. SEO
Yeah,
is more of a long-term
absolutely.
play, but that's
Absolutely.
almost like we should be doing it from the very beginning because it is a long-term
Yeah.
play. What can somebody,
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
so I know you're going to love this because this is really what you teach.
Mhm.
But I feel like if you want to go and analyze your keywords and your hashtags, then those can be integrated into your social media and your SEO and your blog posts and your guest posts on other places. And
Mhm.
like, it really can be part of the whole. So I would actually integrate it into the whole as opposed to tacking it on at some point.
Mm.
Because if you look at what words, if I have a website, so website's either like a business card or a traffic generation. So if it's a business card, it needs to look gorgeous. For lead generation, actually a lot of ugly sites do well. So
Mhm.
Like if they just make it easy for people to get what they want, then actually if something's not as attractive, people don't get distracted by looking at how beautiful it is. Now, someone who's in like the business you're in with really high profile people, they're going to want both. They want it to look really sexy and be operational and generate leads for them and capture email addresses. So, well, I mean, you're asking me, and I believe in like starting it before your website's done.
I kind of thought that would be your answer.
Because I want to see like all the photos optimized. Like you're just missing things if you're not. Like you're just not. You can look at these most amazing people, and then you look at their keywords they're being seen for, and it's like 7. Because they haven't told Google. They have the keywords on their site, but no one is telling Google that, and that's the metadata part. It's the behind the scenes part.
Gotcha.
And so it's just really, if you're going to invest in a website, I would also invest in having it SEO optimized at the open. And then it's a month by month. And so it's an increasing more backlink, increasing more things that lead to you increasing, and you can integrate it with everything else. It's a tool that will help you. For instance, you notice in Instagram, some of the really big Instagram influencers have like a stack of hashtags. Have you noticed that? Like 20 or 30 hashtags. So if you have those on your website also, then you're going to play that game. Like if you look for that hashtag, you're going to, do you see, you're making neural pathways from your website to the world.
Yeah.
So I think there's like no better time to start than now, just like planting a tree. Like, yes, if you didn't do it 10 years ago, it's really good to plant one now. Get plants. And actually, just on an aside, I'm ordering plants for my house because I really, just as a funny thing that I learned through the COVID, was oxygen's so important.
Yes. So
and
true.
So the air quality and being stuck in your house, if you don't have air quality in your house, I just see that as something that's important. So I've ordered like 3 or 4 plants per room, which I'm really interested to see if I have a green or purple thumb, because I don't really know. But I think SEO is sort of like oxygen. Like it's going to help. Just go in and put it into everything and start playing with it. Hire VAs. That you don't have to hire high paid people to do it, but you do have to have quality. So you can actually really mess up your site if you do bad SEO or Blackhat SEO. You can actually, you'll get downgraded. So it's better to do nothing than 400 things with cheap players that you don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Oh gosh. As with everything in life, right? I mean, and it's true, because just like with, you can buy followers on Instagram, or you can, when you say Blackhat SEO, it's cheating the system, right? Tricking the system, trying to do things to kind of jump ahead that aren't actually looked favorably upon by the search engine. So one more quick question, and then I want you to tell people where they can connect with you. And I know you've got a great, cool gift for everybody as well. But so if somebody's listening and they're saying, okay, I have not focused on my SEO. I've been focused on, social media or whatever else.
Yeah.
What's the first thing they should do? What's the very first thing they should do?
Well, call me now. I know I hate it when guests say that. I hate it when guests say that. It's so funny, but it was so tempting. I had to.
Yeah.
So,
and it could be a good move for them. Yeah.
Actually, go to the gift and just like get the gift. That's better. But so there's a free tool called Uber Suggest, and it's a Neil Patel tool. It's free. Anyone can use it. Go and just type your site into it and get a little snapshot. Find out where you're at, find out where you're at. Do a self-assessment. If you haven't built your website yet, then just find some people to help you. Get a great team around you. But if you have a website and it's kind of, you'd like more clients, you'd like to grow your business, and you want them to find you organically as well as with paid ads, I'm like, more is better.
Yes.
If you can master the Facebook ad system, like, you're going to crush it. But at the same time, if you're getting organic to grow, you can have the same results with less advertising money. So you can keep kind of playing with that energy of what can I get organically, and then how can I so I would start by first seeing where you're at, and then looking at a plan. Like, okay, if I'm only recognized for 5 keywords, how do I get to 150? Some people are recognized for 3.5K keywords. You know, I mean, these are like, if you look at like the Hoth, the really good practitioners of SEO, they're going to be recognized. There's a compound thing. You don't have to have just a little number of keywords anymore. You can have like, 100, and they compound each other, because Google likes to see relevance in a topic in depth. It used to be you would just SEO like 3 keywords. Like that was the way that it was done in the beginning. Like I did it for my name.
Yeah.
And now also, it's a big strategy, but I think to get started, see where you are, see where you want to go, and then get some help. And even like, honestly, even though you don't do SEO, if I were one of your clients, I'd contact you to ask me for the general branding direction before hiring an SEO company that's going to do what you tell them to do in general. They're not always going to know where your brand wants to go. They may, right?
Yeah.
But not every SEO. A lot of times they want to be told, take me to Chicago.
Yeah.
Get me
Here's
ranking
what I
for
want to
this.
show up for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's where your direction is really important, because you could get SEO for something also. Really tiny last thing is, what's the commercial intent when someone's typing that in? So if they don't want to buy anything and you're selling something, you can rank number 1 for a term like happiness, but no one really types that in to buy something.
Yeah.
So you're better off like ranking number 1 for online happiness programs I can buy, or something silly like that. But you want to look at what's the commercial intent as well, because ranking number 1 for some things is awesome. But if it doesn't get you people that have commercial intent in working with you, it can be a little bittersweet. You're like, what are those 4,000 people doing on my site?
Yeah.
So
It looks good on the front, but they're not actually converting.
Yeah. So you want to look at keywording some, like, I'm working on right now. I actually have a brand new website, so it's baby, but I'm looking at by SEO, not just ranking for SEO could happen, but I'm looking at an SEO companies and how do I hire an SEO person? Like I'm looking at ranking on these long terms that show commercial intent over just being like SEO or something. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
You want to like take it the next level of, I want to not only be in front of people who might want to really be in my tribe or be my party, or we like Gary Vee, or like the cool people, but we also want to have people that like want to buy our stuff, right?
Yes.
So I built your team a gift. I'm really excited about it. So I put it at it'll be the name of the show,
Instant Impact.
instantimpact.seo for leadgen.com.
Love it.
And I'm going to give 4 tips on finding 90 keywords. 90 keywords, 90.
We like
and
it.
And then a complimentary session where my team will just give whoever calls from your show 90 keywords specific for their niche.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. That is, I get excited about this. Like I'm actually getting really excited about SEO right now, which that can vomit. So thank you for everything you shared. Yeah, this is so helpful. Tell people too, where can they connect with you? I know you've got your own podcast. I know you're on social. So tell people where they can connect with you as well, in addition to getting the gift.
Yeah. So very blessed to have a unique name now. So Instagram, Erica Glessing, Facebook, Erica Glessing, Twitter. I love Twitter. So I'm on Twitter more than, I'm older. I love Twitter still. I got my friends on Twitter. I can't wait for the NBA to get back, because I play with a lot of the basketball stories on Twitter. Twitter, Erica Glessing. LinkedIn, Erica Glessing. I love LinkedIn. That's where Lisa and I met. So just find me with my name and I'm happy to serve.
Thank you so much, Erica. And guys, gosh, this was just, I don't know about for you, but for me, I feel like I got so many new ideas. And if you can, just start putting in the time to optimize what you're showing up for, it's going to pay off not only now, but also in the long run, right? Because SEO is that long-term play where you're really building up. It's kind of like you're building up your portfolio of keywords now that's going to pay off for you years down the road as well. So definitely connect with Erica, get the free gift, and reach out and thank her for all the valuable insights she shared on this episode. So I hope that you all enjoyed this, and just appreciate, again, Erica, thank you for coming on. So
thank you so much.
I will look forward to seeing you all for the next week's episode. Bye for now.